How would you like to, Christian female entrepreneur, be able to really honor God in everything you wear, but also as a result of that, as a result of honoring Him, you're also giving Him glory and being super intentional and getting to really attract, draw in, and have your best clients buy from you more quickly? Well, that's what we're going to be talking about today. And actually, this is the first part of a three-part series specifically for Christian female entrepreneurs. Now, if we have not met before, welcome. My name is Nikki Henricks, and I am a Christian personal brand stylist. And I help female founders, Christian female founders just like you, to create business wardrobes that align with who God made you and your business to be, to really align with your brand, to be seen, remembered, and then hired. So let's dig in. So today I really want to talk about why it's important about what we're wearing for a business, and probably not in a way you've heard possibly before or in a way that you think you're going to hear it. And I want to talk about how really your what you're wearing is a type of communication. And, we will spend so much time and effort and training into the words we say. We're intentional with the words we say. We put so much thought. We may buy courses and or have coaches to make sure all our words are correct. But here's the thing. I find that a lot of female founders are not doing the first step. If you think about it, maybe you don't know this, but if you think about this, your visual presentation to people, their brain processes the visual before the words. And so in that first impression, they are processing what you look like faster than what you're saying, like verbally, or if you think about a picture even that you put, let's say, on a social media post, and then you have words underneath it or words on it, they're processing that picture faster than the words. And also 90% of what goes into our brain is visual. And so that is one aspect of really being remembered well, is visually. So visual is huge in our world, and especially in the business world. And so that's what we're going to talk about is, okay, in light of that, does God really care much about what we wear? It's important in business, but I want to take it back to God. What does God think of what we wear? And I think a lot of times as Christian women, we will think okay, yes, yes, he wants me to be modest. He doesn't want me to be super vain, which, yes, that is important. But also, I believe it goes far beyond that. Because, if you think about it, like, do you believe that God cares about the words you say? Let's say you um think you have these words that God's telling you to say and you don't. Does he care about that? Yes. Okay. If what you're wearing is communication and he wants you to dress in a way that really brings out the beauty that God put in you, that communicates a certain message that is going to attract your best client, but you're not taking the time to really be intentional enough, do you think he cares about that? If we think about it in our words and that, how they're both communication, yes, he does. So God talks a lot in the Bible about our words. And there was a couple verses in Proverbs, actually. I believe it's Proverbs 10. Um, he talks a lot about the words of the righteous. And he talks about, okay, so in the NIV it says, the mouth of the righteous is a fountain of life. Wisdom is found on the lips of the discerning. The lips of the righteous nourish many. So, okay, like God clearly cares what we say with our words, right? Our communication. Well, visually, we are communicating things as well. And yes, God cares about it. Yes, he cares that, like we're not dressing just to look vain and get all the attention. Yes, he cares that, we're making sure that we're not exposing our body too much or just, um, looking too sexy. Yes, all important. But on the flip side, like he also cares that we are communicating the right things through our clothes in just so many different ways. Um, like I said before, to really show our best clients, hey, like I'm the one that you've been waiting for. Um, to be able to see, oh, like this is the person I've been praying for. I want to talk a little bit more about communication. I said a couple statistics about, yes, how our clothes communicate, but also, um, I just want to give a couple story examples of like how our clothes are communicating and what they might be communicating. And I've said this before, if you listen to my videos, but I experienced this with even just the color of the clothes. So I was in Florida and I had these purple pants on. And like I knew that purple often represents royalty. And little backtrack is that even just the color of what you're wearing, there's a whole psychology behind that. Different colors will make you kind of feel certain ways. They represent different words. And so um, I know like in the Bible, it talks about purple with royalty and like a luxury color. If you look into it, like in some countries, I have researched that I don't think it's right now, but like back in the day, they like only royalty could wear purple. Also, it was a very expensive color because of how they had to get the dye to do that. Was very hard to get. And so like only the people that could like had the money for it could pay for that. So yeah, royalty, high level, that sort of thing. So I knew that. And then um like I was like, okay, if color psychology is real, like other people know that as well, right? And then I realized like to the extent that how true it is. And it can vary a little bit different based on cultures. But I went down to a business conference in Florida and it was like an outdoor mall restaurant area and I was walking with my purple pants and someone like a waiter that was um by the outside where I was walking, I think he was waiting to see people or something like that. I was walking by and he's like, "Hey, I like your purple pants." And I was like, "Oh, thank you." And like said that and just kept walking. And he's like, "Do you know that purple means royalty?" And I turned around and I was like, "Yes, actually I do." And continue on walking. And that was the end of our discussion, but it was like, okay, I did not realize to the extent that colors have meaning and colors are saying stuff. Um, if a random like waiter guy in Florida knows that purple means royalty, like how many other people know that? How many other people are just looking at the colors that we're wearing and getting these messages, getting these communication from us? Just as simple as like the color we are wearing. Think about um why. brides wear white. It's kind of, unfortunately, with our culture, it's not always the case, but like it was to represent this pure bride that she had like saved herself for her husband um for their wedding day, like this pure bride coming to her husband pure. And that's why she wore white, because white represents pure. That's why a lot of wedding dresses are white. Is that what is what it came from? And so just the color is communicating. There was another story I had heard from a friend, and she was talking about how these two friends that she had, how they met and how one ended up hiring the other one as her coach. And so they were both at a park with their kiddos, and the first mom noticed the other mom sitting at the park, and she decided to go up to her and actually talk to her because the color, like what that mom was wearing, just like communicated like energy. And like the first mom was drawn to that. Like, ooh, who's this energetic mom? Like, I want to meet her. And so they got talking, and eventually she ended up hiring her as her coach. And so, another example of just how the clothes were communicating to someone. And maybe it's just something, they communicate and the person's like, that's cool, whatever. But in that case, like that woman got a client because of what she was wearing. There's another story of a business coach that I know, and she was sitting in the lobby and was wearing green pants. Apparently, the colored pants are a thing, I guess, today, a theme. And there was like a convention going on, and so she was sitting in the lobby with her green pants, and someone walked in and saw her sitting there, and like later on they connected, and she's like, "Oh my goodness, I saw you from there. I love your green pants." Da 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 da. And eventually, like that person worked with her. So your clothes are communicating. Your clothes can have the potential to draw or get someone's attention, draw someone to you, get someone's attention. Um, remember that with the green pants, they didn't connect right away. Later on they connected, but she was remembered because of her pants. And so if we are supposed to be so careful with what we are communicating with our mouth, you better believe that God is making sure, or not making sure, God is like wanting us to be careful, to be intentional with what we are communicating through what we wear. And so that is the first part, is that it's a communication. It actually communicates like better than words if you're doing it in the right way. God cares about it. And like a couple other ways that he is that our clothes are communicating. So it's like saying things to people. It has the potential to, um, like I said, think of like a flag. Like I believe as Christian female entrepreneurs, um, like we are different than the world. I don't believe that our job is to like necessarily even help as many people as we can. I believe God wants us to more like be open to that, but specifically be available to help the people God has for us to help. Those specific people, because He has such a great plan. He understands all of it, thankfully, how we are, so many people are connected and, um, like getting this person from, let's say you are a financial coach and, like there's someone that just started their business and has this dream to create this nonprofit ministry or maybe to fund an orphanage but they're right here. And so God has different people and places and things so that they will create 10 orphanages in 10 years. And you are part of that line for them to get there. Meeting you and giving them the wisdom on knowing how to invest, what to invest, like being that coach of encouragement so that they do start investing. And you are very important in them getting to that place of opening up orphanages. And so I believe like there are people out there as female Christian entrepreneurs that we are supposed to help. And when we communicate the right things with our clothes, it's like we are, like think about, I don't know if you've ever had this happen before, but think about like when you go to the airport and if you have a specific driver there that's going to drive you to your next place, maybe you're in a different country, and how they have a sign of your name. Well, think about your clothes being that sign of like to get their attention to be like, hey, like I'm the answer to your prayer. I'm the answer, the God's answer to, like, I am the one, the financial advisor that God has for you, because I have a past experience that is similar to yours, and so I know how to really lead you through that experience. And so we can really communicate just like that sign of like, yes, I'm your driver. Like, yes, I am your wealth investor advisor. I'm the one. And really, you can set yourself apart because that's how God wants you to do it. That's you. There's different things in your story that really aligns with your clients, and you can communicate everything, but you can communicate things through your clothes that it's going to have you be seen and really get them to take notice of you. And if it's not right then, maybe you're still in their head for a while, and then eventually that they will hire you so that they will get the results. You can help them with what they need. And even more beautifully is it can happen more quickly because they can realize their mind can be like awakened or realize like, oh, she's the one. I don't have to keep looking. She's the one. And so it's a win-win for you serving out your purpose that God has for you, and they're getting the help they need and more quickly. So yeah, it's communication. God, so we can communicate like, hey, I'm the one. Also, I think it is very important that you are communicating in a way that really gives God glory. So I want you to think about like if you got a bouquet of flowers from your husband and maybe even like he'd like, I don't know if you've ever heard of this before. There's one kind of close to us, but recently I heard about a farm that grows flowers that you come and pick them and like you create your own bouquet. I don't know if that's something new or that, but I was like, this is really cool. So let's say he even did that. Like he went and specifically picked the colors and the flowers that like you love, right? And brings them home to you. What kind of vase are you going to put them in? You're going to put them in a nice vase, right? That just like highlights them and makes them look wonderful, right? Because you like are so appreciative that he did that for you. And so you honor that that action he did for you by putting it in a nice vase. Maybe you don't have any. Maybe you're like, oh, the last vase did not get washed. It somehow got put away and it is like grimy and icky. I better go get a new one. And you like actually go out of your way and go purchase a new vase just for those flowers, right? It could be might be something you might do. Because you're like, wow, that was so special. And God made you in a special way. Like he could have just been like, "Bloop, there she is." And like he has the power and could have just like done you everything. But it says that he knit you together in your mother's womb. Have you tried knitting? Um, it's not like this easy thing. Maybe it is for some people, but like it takes time. It takes some concentration. Like I when I think I was like a teenager, I tried to knit. Well, I did kind of knit. And but I wanted to get to the point of like being able to knit while doing things like watch movie and stuff. And I learned like it I did knit while I was watching I think a movie sometimes, but it ended up being this really long thing where it was like woo like so there is a skill and a technique. It's not just the super easy thing. Like it takes time, it takes intentional to make sure that it's even. And so God did that for you in your mother's womb. And so when we are intentional in where the pieces that, make us feel like appreciative of how he made us, maybe it's um, understanding what type of dresses are going to fit our body shape. And so once we learn that, being able to learn that and like maybe dresses were like a big X, like I do not wear dresses because I do not like how dresses look on me. But then you're intentional and you learn or have someone guide you on, okay, here's the dresses that are going to work best for your body shape. And so you start wearing them and you just like really appreciate, like, okay, like God, my body, I like my body, which you're like, I always did, but like, I just appreciate my body more because I understand that I was just like, trying to wear the wrong pieces. If you think of if you like those I think they're called like a shape sorter. I had one around here of kiddos, young kiddos, but it's like, like if you have a circle hole and you're trying to put like a triangle in that circle and it's there triangle. Anyways, but it's like it's just not fitting. Or maybe you can get like a side of it in there, but it's just like not working because the shape and the shape don't match. And so that's like what can happen when you wear um those dresses that were not meant for your body shape. You're like, this is not working, what's going on? And it's not your body. It's just you're trying to jam a triangle shape into the hole, into the circle hole. And so when you realize, oh, here is a circle block, and like here is the circle hole, and you put it in, and it just slides easily. That's what it is like when you know how to dress for your body, and to just appreciate who God made you to be more, because now it's easy. And now you realize, like, oh wow, yeah, fearfully and wonderfully made. I may have some extra skin, um, maybe a few more pounds than I did before, but like still so fearfully and wonderfully made, and just appreciate the body that I have. Um, that's God will honor that. He wants us to be thankful. And so that is on the other side of being intentional with what we wear. We appreciate him more. Also, we give him glory. We're able to like glorify him creating us. Kind of like the vase. Think about if you were given a gift, a painting. I don't know what you would like. If I had got a painting, I think I would like the ocean. It's like so peaceful. Sorry, sometimes it's peaceful. And like think of your like favorite scene, what that would be. And let's say you had a friend that was like an amazing artist and she painted that for you. Well, you would put it in a frame that, like really brings out that color or brings that theme to life that, like you could look at the painting all by itself, be like, wow, this is beautiful. But then you put it next to a frame and it just brings out that ocean colors even more and it's just like glowing. You would do that, right? Well, just something as simple as the colors you are wearing when it is complementing your complexion, you are just giving glory and honor to God, your creator. And as people are complimenting you, that's an opportunity to be like, oh, thank you. And also, like, I just appreciate that our creator, um, like, put that my blue eyes, let's say, like, I just appreciate that God made my eyes blue and you're giving God glory. So in so many ways, God wants us to be intentional with what we are wearing, especially for our business, because it is communicating things. It's communicating to really be seen by our best client, to be remembered by our class clients, um, hired. I'll talk about that in a second, but to give God glory, to appreciate who we are. Um, so like in being seen and remembered and hired, kind of talk about seen and remembered, but hired. What does someone need to be able to buy from you? They need to trust you, right? Like a lot of times we will talk about, oh, what liked and trust. I'm trying to think. I feel like there's another word, but like the term, like you need to be liked and trust before is it seen, liked, and trust? I don't know. But anyways, like that thing of like you need to have all of that before you need trust before that. And there's been statistics that have shown, like people actually pay more for brands that they trust. They're more likely to recommend them to people. Like trust is a huge thing in business, right? And so you can actually um, help get hired. Maybe they see you and like you. Maybe they remember you, but maybe like um, that to get to from remembered and hired, they need a little more trust. You can also do that with your clothes. Um, like I said, even with just color psychology, blue is often known for trust. If you think about even like patterns or colors together, if you are like a counselor and maybe you're talking online, staying away from like black and white because they're polarizing, you know, um, and drawing more towards like blue can help people trust you more because you're making them feel something. They're making them feel like, oh, trust instead of like, oh, she's so black and white. If I work with her, she's probably going to be like so polarized and like, um, it's going to be stressful. And I don't know if she'll really hear me out, but wearing that blue gives them a feeling of like, oh, okay, I think I can trust her with what I have. Um, and there's other things obviously that incorporate that trust, that will add to that trust, but visually communication through your clothes can signal that trust. Maybe, like with that story with the mom before, I talked about like, oh, she looks energetic. Maybe she trusts people more that are energetic because she's like, she is going to get it done in the time that I needed to get it done. Maybe it like that woman was an interior designer and like coach, and the one woman had tried working with an interior designer before and they didn't get it done in the time that that woman needed. And so she's like, oh, I don't know, like she might be hesitant. And then she saw like, okay, energetic, like this woman has the energy and capacity to get it done. She built trust through just communicating energy. And so it can really help get you from seen to hired or even remembered to hired by making that pathway of trust and communicating that through through your clothes. And so I want to recap and really my hope for you is that you are understanding. And maybe, I feel like a lot of you probably understood some of this of realizing that you need to be intentional. But I hope you understand like it's probably a lot more intentional than you realized. And, you know, if you are someone that thinks your words is intentional, I want you to start thinking that just how you are intentional with your words. Your clothes are speaking words to people in their brain, like royalty from purple, or like making them feel a certain way too. I had one woman, another female entrepreneur, we were chatting and she was commenting about purple. Um, and because that is like a big color in my brand. And so I wear purple often to really help be remembered like that and like create that feeling of like royalty being, you know, God's family. And also she was saying how when she like sees it, she thinks like authority. And so it makes her like feel like, oh, Nikki is like an authority of what she's saying. Like she has authority and style. So it makes people feel a certain way. All right. Well, um, I'm going to wrap up part one. Well, we need to be intentional, and God cares about what you wear. And so, in carrying that, like we can honor God even more with what we wear when we are intentional. And also, like, we can make more sales from really drawing in our best client more quickly. And I talked about how we can help them more quickly and really serve out God's purpose. But I want you to think about too, in creating more sales, what are some dreams that God has put in your heart that those sales more quickly, that's getting more clients more quickly through what you are wearing? What are those dreams that could happen maybe more quickly than you anticipate and or happen in the exact time that God needs and that God wants it to happen because he can figure out other ways, right? But like that is God's best will. Whether that is, going taking all of your kids on like your whole adult family on vacation to Hawaii this year, where you can have those moments that just impacts them in a way. Maybe it's is that moments that they need with you to just push forward that with that last year of college that they're struggling a little bit with. Or maybe, like I said, it's opening up that orphanage down the road, but you making that investment now from those extra sales is going to help you be able to do that in 10 years. God cares about our business. He cares about the sales we make. He cares about us helping every single person that He has for us to help. And we can help do that more quickly in the time that He has for us when we dress with intention. All right. Now, until next time, get ready for part 2 that will be coming out as we talk about dressing with intention as Christian female entrepreneurs. So, until then, bye.